You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It's your host, Brian Fullerton here, hanging out with you guys in studio, bright and early Monday morning here, and hope you guys are enjoying the start of your work week and getting ready to rock and roll back into the regular season. Guys, we've got a great guest interview for you lined up. We got a very special guest on the line, none other than Paul Jamison, host of the Green Industry Podcast. Good morning, Paul. How you doing, brother?
Good. Thank you for having me on the show, Brian.
Absolutely, man. Well, how's things down in Georgia? You guys enjoying that 60 and 70 degree weather? Are you guys getting snow, or what's the story down there?
Well, I'm working on my base for the tan here for going to Florida. So we had a nice day the other day, and I did go to the pool, and I had the shirt off and ready to go down to Florida.
There you go, man.
Week, so I'm getting fired up.
Amen to that. Hopefully when we go on down there, which we're gonna talk about something really exciting here in a quick minute, but hopefully when we get on down there, it'll be in the 70s, maybe some 80 degree days. But here's what I'll tell you: anything above 20 degrees is a win for us up here in Michigan. You know what I'm saying? So it's very, very cold. But hey, before we jump into it, you know how it goes with the formalities. I want to make sure that we introduce you correctly. I don't want to just take it for granted. You have a super successful podcast and show about the green industry, and I don't want to minimize any of that just because we're really good friends. You have a great show that has helped so many people just all across the country, really across the world. So why don't you take a quick 1 or 2 minutes here? You're a professional podcaster, so you know what to say next, but take it away for a quick minute for any of those people that don't know you, what your background is and what your story is.
Absolutely. So I started a lawn care company in 2011 and continued to learn the hard way as I made mistakes those early years. And by the time I got to the year 2018, I was a podcast and audiobook junkie. I mean, you name a business book, I've listened to it on audiobooks, and I'm just binge listening to Dave Ramsey's podcast, Entree Leadership, all these business podcasts. And I had the idea, I was like, man, it'd be pretty cool to start a podcast one day and just talk about lawn care. But I didn't really ever think it was going to happen because my schedule was so full. And Brian, I was driving through Illinois, and I felt like the Lord tell me, if you build it, they will listen. And so August of 2018, I started the Green Industry Podcast. Naylor Taliaferro was my first interview. You were my second interview. And the rest is history, as they say. Now we're at like episode 340.
Wow.
And just having a lot of fun. And the show's very niche down. We do chat lawn care, landscaping best practices. And then from there, I ended up writing my first book, which I'll look forward to sharing on your show today, the book called Cut That Grass and Make That Cash. And so now I have an audiobook and a podcast that I used to be a consumer of. Now I'm a creator, and so it's just full circle.
There you go, man. There you go. Well, we're really excited about having you on the show. You've been on the show before, and by the way, thank you for all the shout outs that you give us on your show as well. We're definitely Green Industry Podcast related as well. That's what we talk about, lawn care, landscaping. But I keep mine a little bit more broad because my YouTube channel's all lawn care all the time. I like to talk about marriage stuff, relationship stuff, finance stuff on this podcast. Just small business ownership and entrepreneurship in general, but which by the way, I know you cover a lot of those similar topics, especially with all the different guests you got on the show. And by the way, congratulations on 350 podcast episodes in just under 2.5 years or whatever it is.
Thank you.
That's a stout work ethic, and we only do a 3-day a week show right now. We're every Monday, kind of in the off season. I've decided because I have a real life too, and there's not too much going around behind the scenes, with us, if we're not cutting that grass, making that cash, right? So, but I will tell you this, we're going to come back to a regular Monday, Wednesday, Friday show here in just a few weeks as we all gear up for the regular season. So, one thing that Paul and myself do share in common, amongst the many other things, is the same producer. And we both utilize a great guy in the industry. I think, Paul, you've proclaimed the best producer in the biz, right? Mr. Producer. So
absolutely. I appreciated you and Naylor roasting my transitions. It helped me to be a better broadcaster. On your recent episode, you pointed out that I could probably kick it over to the best producer in the biz a little more smoothly. So that was quite confident.
Well, we're all trying to work on those transitions. We're all trying to work on a bunch of things in life. But one thing I can say for sure is that Mr. Producer, he's always gets the last laugh and the last crack of the joke. You know what I mean? Because he's post-production, man. So you and I, we get to look like fools out here out front, and then on the back end, he can always clean it all up, right? So it's always fun giving him the last say. But when we do transition it over to him, hopefully he comes on back with some nice things to say. And all things being said, let's do that really quick. Let's kick it over to the best producer in the biz, and we'll come right on back.
Now, I was actually wondering if I could double dip or double bill since I have a couple of clients on the show today. What's up? It's Marty, and I've actually been thinking about doing a show segment or two on how podcast hosts can make smoother transitions and sound like the pros. The old standby, of course, is the tease. Your chance to win $1,000 and qualify for the new Tesla Roadster is coming up. So keep listening for the phrase that pays as your key to call. But of course, hey, it's not a radio station, and Brian's not giving away any Teslas. My favorite tease used to be, later we will tell you how you can keep the fatalities in your family to a minimum. But with COVID, that's not nearly as funny as it used to be. Please send complaints to Brian's Lawn Maintenance on YouTube. So how about this? I want you to keep listening as Paul gets a knock on the door from a lady who wants to meet him in our next segment of Fullerton Unfiltered. Expedite your productivity. Introducing CartMate Pro and RS by Dawson Manufacturing. This industry-leading front-mounted zero-turn articulating cart mounts to the front of the mower you already own, making you more profitable. With the ability to move mulch, leaves, dirt, and much, much more 2 to 3 times faster and dump your load effortlessly, you'll increase productivity while reducing labor costs. What could you do with the extra time? I'm sure your wife has an idea. Order your CartMate Pro today at mulchmateusa.com and never wheelbarrow again. That's mulchmateusa.com or text Labor Saver to 31996. That's Labor Saver to 31996 for exclusive deals, info, and maybe even some freebies. Normal text messaging rates apply.
Lawns, lessons, and live. This is the Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast. Now your host, Brian Fullerton.
All right, good deal, guys. Well, let's just jump right back into it. I told Paul that we're going to keep this episode short and sweet. I've actually got to get running before you know it here. And we wanted to at least give you guys some of the updates of some really exciting things, all three of which include Paul Jamison. So we're going to be talking about, for the next 20 minutes or so, just some really, really exciting things that Paul has going on. First off, Paul is now a published author and a best-selling author, might I add. And we also have another tour coming up with the Green Industry Podcast. And then the little crown jewel during that Florida tour is a hype house, or a kind of a meetup that we're doing with some other folks in the lawn care industry. So, Paul, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to kick it over to you. We got just kind of an open mic. We don't really have any notes here, but I wanted to first off congratulate you on something that I'm so excited for you about, and that is you putting together a resource that has been on your heart and your mind for the last couple of years. And a lot of people say they're going to write a book, man. A lot of people start writing a book, but very few people see it all the way through. And so you have a new book out. Why don't you give these guys the title, talk about it for a few minutes here, and let these folks know why they might want to pick that up and purchase it from Amazon and all the other bestsellers.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brian. So I wrote a book called Cut That Grass and Make That Cash: How to Start and Grow a Successful Lawn Care and Landscaping Business. And I wanted to share my lawn care journey because on Instagram, we can see everyone's success stories and the highlight reel and all of that. But I wanted to write a book about all the low points and all the difficulties and all the reality. I mean, you've run a business for 15 years. You know that there's some challenges out there while you're building this thing. And so what I want to do is share my actual story, how I started from the trunk of a 1997 Honda Accord. I didn't even have a truck. I didn't even have a self-propelled mower. I had a Walmart raggedy mower that would fold, though. That was the nice thing about it. So I could fold it up, this 21-inch push mower, put it into the trunk of a 1997 Honda Accord, and then I took a weed eater and I diagonaled it. I put it diagonal from the back seat, to the passenger front seat.
Oh, yeah.
And it had stick out the window a little bit to fit. And then I didn't even have a backpack blower. I had a little put a little handheld still blower. That was how I started. Okay. So now,
awesome.
In 2020, my customers consisted of the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, Raheem Morris, the captain of Atlanta Falcons, Ricardo Allen. And I kind of, grew into success. So the book is the story of how I went from starting in the back of the, 97 Honda Accord to build a business to actually service high profile customers and do it at a profit margin, a healthy profit margin. And so it's a bunch of humorous stories. I tried to share them in a humorous way because they're funny now, but with each of those stories, there was actually a business principle I learned through the school of experience, or as some would call it, the school of hard knocks. So it's full of business nuggets, but it's told as my story. And so I'm really excited to share this. I really feel like if guys are in between their first and fifth year of business, it will be just a really helpful foundational book of how you can start and grow a successful lawn care business. So you don't have to repeat the mistakes that I made. My cousin told me that if you learn from your mistakes, that's smart. But if you can actually learn from the mistakes of others, then that's really smart. That's really wise, because then you don't have to repeat that mistake. And so guys listening to your podcast and whatnot already catch that vision. So I hope this book would just share those time-tested advice on how to increase your profits and really the best practices to be successful in achieving your goals. So that's what the book's all about. And we have it up there on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, as Mr. Producer says, where finer books are sold. You can get it. And then eventually, and for guys listening in podcast land down the road, the audiobook will probably be out. But here in real time, the audiobook's not out yet. Should be coming out soon. The ball's not in my court on that. I submitted it to ACX, and they take 30 business days. So I'm checking my email every morning, seeing if it's out there yet. But for now, the paperback and the ebook is available.
All right. Good deal, man. Well, I'm really excited about that. It's funny because I still, shame on me, I need to order my book because it was funny. A week ago, you and I were on a Zoom meeting, a conference call, and doing some different coordinating behind the scenes for another event coming up in February. And you were like on your Instagram stories that day, hey, for all of you guys holding out for the audiobook, buy an actual physical copy and then get the audiobook. And I thought the audiobook was going to be available at the exact same time. What do I know? So I was that guy. I was holding out. So I still got to go up there and buy my copy on Amazon. But I have heard that down in Tampa, Florida, you're going to be giving away 10 signed copies, which our friend Mike from the How to Hardscape podcast sponsored. And so I'm feeling like, hey, if I'm already down there, part of this thing, then maybe I'll be first in line and I can get myself one of them signed copies. You know what I'm saying? So
yes, you definitely you got a shot at one of the 10 signed copies. I'm going to bring a book bag full of other copies as well if guys are going to be there in person and want one.
Yeah.
So it's going to be fun to be able to give the book in person. But of course, Amazon makes it so easy. Just a couple clicks away, and I'll be at your door if you have Amazon Prime in no time. So I'm pumped up, Brian, because as entrepreneurs, we always have, I want to do this, I want to do that. And I wanted to write a book for so long. I mean, I've been telling my friends like, hey, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to write a book. I'm going to write a book. And then I said that in 2017. I actually was going to do it back then. And then 2018, I'm going to write a book. 2019, I'm going to write a book. So this year with the quarantine and things of that nature, I said, you know what? If I don't write the book this year, it's never going to happen.
Sure.
I'd wake up, put on a pot of coffee. I'd sit at my table and I'd write. And actually, Mr. Producer was my proofreader and editor. So then I'd send him the chapter and he would send it back to me and we'd go back and forth until it was perfect. And I got it done. And it's so satisfying when you have a project, whether it's writing a book or, opening a business or adding a division to your business or whatever it is. There's this satisfaction I can't explain when you actually get it done and it's a quality outcome. It's very satisfying. So I look forward to helping you write your book.
Well, Paul, I'll tell you what, man, that's something that I've always wanted to do was write a book of my own. And you and I have grand plans behind the scenes because you're going to help me, hopefully help me coach me through putting one together. I've got a lot on my mind that so many stories like you just said that I haven't really shared. And I've shared a lot of videos, a lot of podcasts, but there's still a lot of lessons learned that I want to document myself and put out a book or a guide, sometime here this spring or summer. So look forward to that. But, here's what I'll tell you. you guys, get Paul's book, support him, check it out. I mean, if you're just consuming and you know, you don't really reciprocate, you know, we talk about it all the time on my podcast. We want to be givers, not just takers, right, Paul? So, and without, you know, putting a little bit of coin, to be honest with you, in Paul's pocket, it's really hard for him to continue on doing the show without supporting the sponsors and buying his book. And plus, you guys heard him turning the bottle cap in the background. He's got to buy that Essentia water, right, Paul? So, but so, which is, by the way, I got mine right next to me. So, and I swear to God, true story though, I got declined for being a water influencer. I don't know how you can do that. You know, maybe I could have been one of those bang TikTokers. You know what I'm saying, Paul? But hey, super excited for you. And if you guys get the book, do us a big solid too. You know, whether you review it eventually on Audible, if you can do that and leave a 5-star review, or you can leave a review on your Amazon purchase. And, you know, when it's a verified purchase, you guys know what I'm talking about. Please do that. Please do that. It makes a huge difference with the social proofing and helping other guys that are trying to find that book, you know, online, or maybe they're just trying to start a lawn care business and, you know, they don't know Paul exists. They don't know that all of you guys exist. You know, give them some social proof. So when they stumble upon it, they can get involved in the community and learn how to grow a successful company. So absolutely. All right. Well, hey, Paul, let's shift gears here, man, because we got a lot going on. And you are a busy man. You do a lot behind the scenes. I'm really excited about you. You got training courses coming. You've got a book that just dropped. And I don't know where you find time with all this stuff, because you're on tour, then you're back home for like 2 minutes, you touch down and you take off on the same night. You're going everywhere 100 miles an hour. And we're super excited about that for you. And coming around the pike, if I'm not mistaken, you got another tour that's going on with the Green Industry Podcast. So where are you going this time? You said I think you're doing the Serbia and, you know, Iceland tour, right? On the cold, right?
Yeah, that's very comical. So actually, the guy who created my book cover, which is who I'm going to recommend to you because he did such a great job, he's from Serbia.
Oh, sure.
So I'm messaging him back and forth, and he's showing me pictures of his snow and everything, and it's crazy the world that we live in.
Sure. He's probably got time to work on his graphics design, because he can't go outside, because if you do, you'll die, you know, obviously. So, but so where are you guys going next on the Green Industry Podcast tour?
Yes, so I'm leaving this weekend on Saturday. I'm going to the Gulf of Mexico to interview James Middleton from Freeport, Florida. He's got a very unique business because he actually puts all of his prices on his website, and it's just kind of like an open, transparent book with his customers and for other businesses to study. So anyway, I'm looking forward to interviewing him, and I got a hotel right on the Gulf of Mexico. He's going to come over. We're going to set up the podcast station and you know, be looking out the window at the white sandy beaches there. They're 30A and Seaside. It's a popular tourist place. So
sure,
that's Saturday, and then Sunday's Super Bowl Sunday, and Jason Creole is flying in from Alabama to Tampa. He's like, "Hey, you think you pick me up at the airport?" And I was like, "Yeah, what time?" He's like, 5 p.m. I was like, "You know, it's Super Bowl Sunday, and the Super Bowl's at 6 p.m. And so anyway, that's going to be fun being in Tampa. Super Bowl Sunday.
Dealing with all those crazy soccer fans, man, it's going to be ridiculous, you know. So
yeah, and then we will be interviewing Jason, and then yourself, Caleb, Brittany Allman, Naylor Taliaferro, Sutton Lawn Care, B&B Lawn Care, Sean Spencer, and there's a bunch of other folks that are coming down to the Hype House. And so that's going to be a lot of fun to get a bunch of great interviews there. And Alan Hain, the lawn care nut, he is a DIY guy. You guys probably seen him. He's got probably the most unique thumbnails on YouTube, because he'll lay down next to the blade of grass and take a selfie. And
he's great.
It works.
Yep.
It works. He's got it figured out. I was like, what do your neighbors think about you, man? And this grown man out there taking selfies, laying down in the grass. But he's got a lot pictures. 1 second, Brian. Someone keeps knocking on my door.
Yeah, no problem.
Hi, thank you. Sorry.
No problem.
Deeply sorry about that. It's DoorDash. They're supposed to just drop it off and leave, but the lady wanted to see me. So it's an interesting world we live in.
Hey, man, you jump back on the wagon, and we got 10 more minutes, man. We can wrap it up. So
okay.
We're at. You said Alan Hain was the last thing.
Yeah, and so after a bunch of interviews at the Hype House, I'm actually headed to Riviera Beach. So there'll be several interviews on the Gulf of Mexico, And then I'll go to Riviera Beach and interview your friends, Matt Lopez and Dave Sargent from Equipment Defender. And shout outs to you, Brian, for making the connection on that one.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to meeting those. Well, I've already met Matt, but hear more about Equipment Defender. And if I can plug Brian's 10, I'll be plugging that all day long. So Brian's 10 for Equipment Defender.
Brian's 10 worldwide.
Yes. And then from there, I'm going up north to Daytona Beach. So one of the reasons why I'm going to Florida is on my last tour, I was in Iowa and it snowed like 7 inches in October. And then I went to Minnesota. It was like 32 degrees. It was snow outside. And I was at Chipotle with John Pajak. I said, next tour is Florida. So that's how we decided that. I was like, I'm not going on tour freezing my butt off. I'm going to the warm climate.
I don't blame you, man. Are you going all the way down like to the tip of Florida, like Miami, the Keys, anything like that?
Well, I considered doing that, but I have an interview with Paul Capote. He is the Miami landscaper.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to come up to our meetup, and I'm going to organize it so I can interview him closer to Tampa area. That will save me a trip to Miami. But if for whatever reason he's not able to with his work schedule, I'll go and interview him there. But I'm trying to see if he'll come our way, just because it is a long tour. And you know how it is. It's a lot of cables and the podcast board. It's you guys get to enjoy the fruit of listening to the show, but it is stressful to do all the back end work of it. So I'm trying to minimize the drive time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
The setup, the breakdown, that's a lot, but if, not that, the tour is not set in stone, cause I know it is, but, if you guys are around, maybe, shoot Paul an email or something like that. And if he's got any free time, maybe you can squeak in a couple extra interviews or something like that. But, I'll leave that up to Paul, you know what I mean? But, dude, that's really, really exciting. Well, hopefully it's, in the 60s, 70s, and, maybe we get a couple of sneak peek 80-degree days in there or something like that. But I'll take that. Like I said, up here in Michigan, we've been getting, about a 1 to 3 inch snowstorm every week, just enough to keep it cold and keep it snowy. And, I guess it's a bonus, because then we're not looking at all this like mute, dormant yellow, woods and trees and grass, because it's just ugly and nasty, and there's nothing green. Everything's just, it looks dead, it just looks desolate, like some, post-apocalyptic movie. Book of Eli style. But now we got some snow on the ground, but your cars are just caked in salt and dust and dirt, and it's just nasty out. I was just texting my friend Mike Bedell earlier. I was like, why did we do this to ourselves? And he goes, I hate the cold. And we both hate the cold. So I don't know. Maybe there's a condo in Florida eventually, or Texas, something like that. So you got the Florida tour. That is going to be super exciting. You got, how many interviews total can folks expect to hear on the Green Industry Podcast? And what's that schedule for releases? Is that coming up soon? You sandbagging it until March?
In real time. Shout outs to Mr. Producer. He is going to be doing it in real time. So
cool.
As soon as we get an interview done, I'll send it his way. He'll do his excellent work, and then we'll start, I believe, Monday, February 8th, right after Super Bowl Sunday. We'll have the first interview up there, and then we're going to do a minimum of 26 episodes and roll it through. So
cool.
Really looking forward to that.
That's really, really exciting. Well, good for you, man. I'm really excited about that. I can't wait to hear a bunch of those guys that you named, and some of them that I haven't heard their story before. But hey, shout out to any of the sponsors or anybody that you want to name drop while we got you.
So we have Michael Bedell is going to sponsor the tour.
Hey, there you go.
DebtFreeLandscaper.com, and guys have been like, hey, Paul, can you coach me? And my coaching's actually closed for the month of February. So there you go. Michael Bedell can take the influx of coaching calls at debtfreelandscaper.com, because he'll be in Michigan with nothing to do. So,
there you go.
but yeah, Mike was like, hey, I'd like to sponsor the tour. So we appreciate that, Debt Free Landscaper. And then we got, and this is a thank you to you, Brian. You got so many connections, but Xmark's going to sponsor the tour. And again,
nice.
You hooked me up with them, and I'm really grateful to you're the most generous guy I think I've ever met, dude. So I think Liz today put on Instagram, I was scrolling through, and she's like, I asked Brian to go get me tea, and then she comes back with a gallon of Chick-fil-A tea. And I was thinking, well, what do you expect? It's Brian Fullerton. You're not going to get a little 32 ouncer here.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Whatever, man. I just like to share,
Yeah. Thanks to the Debt Free Landscaper, Xmark, and Toro. They're also sponsoring the tour. And then Kohler Engine. So we got Kohler, Toro, Xmark, and Michael Bedell, the debtfreelandscaper.com. And definitely appreciate them making it happen.
Well, good. All great people and great brands to work with, and that'll be a lot of fun, man. And I always try to tell people if you want to sponsor, Paul's show, there's an opportunity there. If you happen to know anybody that works at any of these mothership companies, we're trying to keep the lights on and bring you guys this content. And although we're a bunch of guys just with some mixer boards, we do pour a lot of time, energy, and focus into this thing to bring you guys the content to keep you upbeat, motivated. What do they always say? Like, motivation is like a shower. You got to do it daily or you're going to start to stink. So it's like, for me personally, I got to plug in, listen to your podcast, Julio's podcast, Britt Dowd's, Core Ballard's, so many great people out there. And also shout out to my friend Mike. It was actually funny because him and I were talking one night and he goes, "Hey, I'm thinking about sponsoring Paul's tour. Do you think it's a smart investment?" I said, absolutely. Why would you not advertise all of your contracts and all your resources that you have available to help people grow their business, other plug and play resources. And then number two, just to be able to support Paul and bring content to all these other people. So it is really cool to see other people, it's just this whole reciprocity that we got going on in the community, and nobody's stingy, everybody's just kind of sharing and paying it forward. So super, super exciting. Well, let's see. So we've got the book. Super exciting about that. The Florida tour, which I'm very jealous about because I'm only going down there for a week. I wish I could stay down there for a week or two like you are. But you talked about the Hype House, and that is something that I've done an episode on, kind of teasing, and we're finalizing the details every single day as it's coming up this upcoming week and a half from now. Why don't you just give everybody the 2-minute elevator speech on what we're doing? Because this is one of your brainchilds that you wanted to put together for a long time.
Yes. And so I actually got on TikTok, okay, back when it started, and I had a video. I had 2 million views. Next thing you know, I had a video with 5 million views. I had 60,000 TikTok followers. And this is really interesting, Brian. I haven't told anybody this yet, but I was at the gym yesterday, and my trainer at the gym, she's like, "You know who that guy is on the treadmill?" I was like, "No." She's like, "He's a TikToker. He's got 6 million followers on TikTok." I was like, "Oh, cool. I'm going to go talk to him." So I walked right up. I was like, "Hey, do you have 6 million followers on TikTok?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "How many Instagram followers you have?" He's like, 700,000. I was like, "Cool, man." I was like, I'm a podcaster. I was like, I got 60,000 TikTok. I'm trying to build up enough credibility that he'll even talk to me. And I show him my book. I was like, "Look, I got #1 best-selling book." And finally I realized the guy's cool. So I was like, "Do you think we could grab lunch and talk algorithms and just about your success?" And I'm going to see if I can interview him on the show. So he's like, "Sure, man." He's like, "I used to be a bartender and I got laid off." And so I was like, I started making TikTok videos and now it's my full-time job.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's so cool.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
But anyway, what happened is, and he figured out the algorithm of, and I got to talk to him kind of nerdy stuff. I'm not going to bore you guys with the TikTok algorithm details of all that, but it changed his life. And so a bunch of these TikTokers actually went and made a bunch of TikTok videos together at a Hype House in LA. And it just really helped having a collaboration and teamwork and doing it together. And so I was telling Naylor, I was like, "We should do something like this." And he's like, yeah, it sounds like a good idea. And then I just real briefly in passing told Caleb Allman and yourself. And then Caleb called me out blue one day. He's like, "Hey, are you guys still thinking about doing that Hype House thing?" I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And Brittany Allman, this woman is sharp, man. She is an executor.
She is.
She is a go-getter. And so we were all talk. "Yeah, we should do it. Yeah, we should do it. Yeah, we should do it." And then Brittany Allman, praise God for Brittany Allman. She's like, "All right, where are we going to stay? What day are we going to do it?" And she actually put pen to paper and made it happen. So she gets all the credit because the rest of us were more just visionary. Yeah, it'd be cool to get a big old house on an island or, on a bay or wherever and make a bunch of videos, make a bunch of podcasts and have a bunch of fellowship and teamwork. And so we're actually going to do it. So it's our first time. And I think we'll all just kind of, have a good time making videos, making podcasts. And it's going to be in the Tampa Bay area. And so there'll be so many podcasts and YouTube videos and Instagram stories that are going to come out of that. And my thought, Brian, is it's going to be bigger and better in 2022 and kind of turn into an annual thing and to involve the community because you guys all have wives and, it's not like we can have all these bros. "Yeah, just come stay on the couch," because then the women are going to get uncomfortable and things like that. "Who's this guy again?"
Right.
And we're on the couch. But what we wanted to include the community. So the best way to do that is let's just do a meetup nearby. And so it's open to anybody that wants to come on Friday, February 12th, 2021. And we're going to meet at Armature Works in Tampa, Florida, there at 3 p.m. So anybody can come, and it's an outdoor spot. We'll just hang out together. So
yeah, absolutely, man. Well, I don't want to go too further down the road without giving a huge shout out to LMN. LMN is sponsoring the Green Industry Hype House, which is awesome. They're covering a lot of the costs, because I mean, we're renting a nice house. There's 10 couples that are coming down. And a lot of names you guys know, maybe a couple that you don't. Sean Spencer, help me out, Paul.
Mitchell Gordy.
Yep, he's got a good YouTube channel that's up and coming. After I, poked and prodded him to start one, I'm like, why are you keeping your life a secret, bro? You got a bunch of good stuff going on. And, Mitchell, he's a highway patrolman, right? He's an officer. So he's a little thick-headed, but that's my boy Mitchell. But he's coming. Who else we got, Paul?
Jason Creole's coming, and his wife Tracy Naylor's coming down.
Yeah.
And Sutton Outdoors from Kansas City's coming. Blake Albertson and Natalie B&B Lawn Care.
Yes.
And Andy Mulder, he's a hardscaper.
Yeah.
He's coming down. And then Alan Hain lives right near their Tampa area there. And he's like, I'll swing over, So I think we're going to have the lawn care nut in the house. And I'm actually bringing a cameraman. So I said, you know what, to have all this footage, I asked my buddy, I was like, you think you could go? And he's like, I don't know, I'm kind of busy. I was like, well, it is, going to be near the water in Florida. And he's like, oh, you know what? I think I could come. So
yeah.
I got him with the Florida aspect. I'll do it.
That's what you got to do. You got to tease them with the, it's going to be beautiful out. And then, oh, by the way, we got to do a little work. I
said, all you got to do is hit record. So I actually did an interview once at Toro, this $1 billion company. We do a whole podcast, and I forgot to hit record. So that was the embarrassing part of my podcast career.
That story did make it back. There's for any of you guys listening in, like we're nerds, just like you guys are, man. And there's sometimes you make mistakes or you do something silly, right? Like when you record a podcast, you kind of only have one real job besides have a good conversation. It's hit the red button. And we've if you haven't done it yet, I promise you will. I don't want to speak that on you, but it's gonna happen. We've all been there. And Paul always tells me, or at least I always hear from the back end, Paul, the grapevine, did you hear about this one time, Paul, or did you hear about this one time Brian didn't hit record? And because we never want to admit it, but we're human, but I don't know. Do you think you'd hit the red record button in front of Toro? I mean, their logo's red, Paul. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
a little subliminal there. But no, we're really excited about the Hype House. The idea is not to become full-time TikTokers and YouTubers, okay? The idea is to bring you guys collaboration and content. I want to know some fun, maybe marketing tips from a B&B Lawn Care. I want to know some fun, equipment setups with a Sean Spencer. If you guys want to, ask a couple questions to Alan Hain, who's got a background working at TrueGreen as a, regional manager and, this huge position in the company. He knows how to sell and how to upsell FERT and all that stuff. And it can be as practical or it can be as fun. And, we can ask a bunch of invasive questions like, what, like you said, Paul, what is it like being in your lawn, taking a photo and a selfie, from 6 inches tall, and see what his neighbors think about him if he's like the neighborhood weirdo. But he's a wealthy neighborhood weirdo, though. I'll tell you that. He knows what he's doing. So that's the idea. And by the way, I definitely don't want to diminish the women that are coming. My wife is coming. Caleb or Brittany Allman's coming. Those two are butt kickers in their own rights, and they're going to be on all the content as well. So the idea is we're going to take all of you guys that want to follow from Sunday to Sunday, and we'll go from Instagram to Instagram, YouTube to YouTube, podcast to podcast. And that way you guys can get to know other people that got great content out there just to help you guys grow. Just to, and also to be honest with you, it's mid-February. Up here in the Midwest, still nothing really going on for another 4 to 6 weeks. And I think we can all just, have fun, chill out a little bit, and maybe try to, just relax before we kind of break into that busy season. And, we all kick it to, red line, 6th gear, that first week or two of March. So, all right, Paul, so what else we got? Any other notes that you want to drop or any quick last minute details? So we got the book, which is now available wherever fine books are sold.
Finer books are sold. Actually, and this is inspired by you with LawnEntrepreneurAcademy.com. I've been working since July to build the greenindustrypodcast.com. So we actually got the book up there, and we have a brand new product called the Pricing Matrix, where I made this formula where you type in what time you get to a property, what time you get out of the property, how many employees you had on the site, and what you charge the customer. And then it shows you all your breakdown of what you earn per man hour. And there's a spot where you can put in what's your goal to make per man hour, and it will show you how far you are from your goal, what you need to raise your rate by to hit the man hour goals. There's this deep formula that provides the analytics of what it takes to actually be intimate with your numbers, to know your numbers. And it's called the pricing matrix. So I'm actually the first time I've ever told anybody about it, because it just got up on my website this morning.
Sweet.
And this is going to be like my new big product that I'm going to share with the world, because this is the stuff that I had to analyze and study to make sure I'm running at the highest profit margin possible. So the pricing matrix, folks, it's in the book. It's all at thegreenindustrypodcast.com. So that's my like one-stop hub, where people can get the book, get pricing matrix, and things of that nature.
All right, man. Well, good deal. Well, good plug there. Green Industry Podcast. So guys, check out these resources, man. They're there for you to, not bang your head against the wall for a decade, kind of like I had to do. And, maybe that first 8 or so years as Paul. And by the way, Paul, I was just funny story, man. I was listening to one of your episodes just a few weeks ago, because Liz and I took a flight to Waco, Texas, and I had like a 2-hour flight, then we had an hour layover, then another 2-hour flight, like one of those deals. So I was in the airport since like 5 a.m. until like, the better part of noon, right? And I listened to like 6 of your episodes, 1 of Corey's, 2 of Lawn Care Business Success, 1 or 2 of Britt's. I only listen to Britt Dowds if he pays me. You know how that goes. I'm just kidding. Shout out to Britt Dowd. He's a great dude. He's really up in his social media, man. He's a very smart dude. And I don't know the point of my story. The point of the story was, where am I going with this, dude? I was listening.
You're listening to a podcast.
Dude, I was listening to this podcast, and you were like talking about how you lost some of your clients, or like you one of your first clients, because you became a fanboy. And that's when you learn to like not be a fanboy, like be Joe Cool, right? Like Cool Hand Luke. And and I remember you were like inside, like, and you were like, oh my God, like, can I get a couple jerseys? And the lady was like, oh, like you just totally, you like got friend zoned, but like different, And so it's funny though, because the first thing you did when you saw the TikToker at the gym is you ran up to him. You ran up to him and you were basically asking for his autograph in a roundabout fashion. So Paul, you got to keep it cool, man. I mean, don't.
Yes,
don't. I'm just giving you.
I definitely didn't implement the best practice. I nailed it in business. I keep it very, very professional. And I've been around some A-list celebrities, and I do not for autographs or selfies. But in that case, I was just like, honestly, I was like, I was going to invite him to the Hype House. I was going to message you guys like, hey, I got a guy with 700,000 Instagram followers. That's where I lost it, because I thought maybe 30, 40, 50 Instagram followers, whatever.
Sure.
And when he said 700,000 Instagram followers, I kind of turned into a fanboy there, and I was like, "What? You want to grab coffee?"
Oh my gosh, did we just become best friends? I just had to get a little gotcha in there, just to have some fun, because I was cracking up on the airplane, like a laughing hyena, while it's 6 a.m. and everybody's like quiet, and I'm just like shaking my head on the airplane with Paul being a fanboy, getting the autographed jersey, from some famous soccer player, obviously, and I just do that, by the way, for my sports people out there, Paul. They get triggered, and I'm like, how many innings again in basketball? Is it 7? And I get emails and stuff like, Fullerton, stop it, But all right, so that's what I got. Paul, open mic. Any last thoughts on your brain or anything that you want to leave these guys while we got you? But if not, stay tuned to all your socials, which if you want to wrap up with that, that's probably a good thought.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to say thank you, Brian, to you and Mr. Producer for what you do for the community. It's really encouraging. And people have asked me, like, do you think I should start a podcast, or is it too saturated? I said, too saturated? There's only like 3 or 4 of us. This is back in the day. I was like, what happens is guys get on their mower at 8 a.m., April, May, June, and they'll listen to a podcast, and then the podcast is over after 30 minutes or an hour, and it's only 9 a.m. So I was like, we need somebody to make a podcast to listen to from 9 to 9:30, 9:30 to 10:30, 10:30 to lunchtime, and then a few to hang out in the afternoon. So anyway, I appreciate that you and Mr. Producer are bringing high quality content to the community, and I'm an avid listener of your show, and I just think it's great what you're doing, and I'm excited for what your future holds. And in regards to the book, greenindustrypodcast.com, guys, you can go there and pick up your copy. the paperback, and then here very, very shortly at greenindustrypodcast.com, the audiobook version will be available as well.
Awesome, man. Awesome. That's all, dude. Thanks so much for plugging all that stuff. I know a lot of these guys are going to be checking it all out. And when that Audible book comes out, we'll be plugging that big time. I think, by the way, how do we introduce you now? You know, like when somebody graduates with their doctorate, they're like a doctor or, lawyer, doctor, something like some status, right? Like, is there like a special way we introduce like Amazon bestseller? Like, just help me out here. Like, I don't want to, take you down on the societal, ranking here. So like you're a published author. Is that how we introduce you now?
Well, technically it could go. And I only tell you this because my goal as your friend is I'm going to help you be a #1 best-selling author. So
sure.
The safe way would be best-selling author. And the way this works is in the rankings, your book has to be in the top 50 in your genre to be a bestseller.
Oh,
and then
okay.
within that, and if you are, there'll be an orange Amazon sticker. It'll say bestseller and things like that. There's charts for the business in the various categories. And then whoever's #1 in the category is what's called a #1 bestseller. And so for a while there, I was the #1 bestseller in the category. Today I was #2. So technically I'm a best-selling author because I'm in the top 50 and I got the orange banner. But I'm very competitive, and so I want to pass up this other book that's ahead of me.
What book is #1? What book is #1? Who's like?
I don't even. I think it's called Lawns to Meadows or something like that. And there's some really popular books like the Lawn Bible and Lawn Care for Dummies and Landscaping for Dummies. There's like staples where these books are very, very popular, and so I'm just thrilled that I'm in the category. But I'm telling you guys, watch out, because when Brian does his book, I am committed to making you a #1 best-selling author. So I tell you that, so then when people ask you, hey, what do we call you? You can unashamedly say, I'm a #1 best-selling author.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's probably not because of anything special that I say, but I'll tell you, it's because of all you guys that listen into the show, that support what Liz and I are doing. You guys just support us. You guys fall in love with us. We fall in love with you guys and just try to help you guys grow. I mean, we're nothing special. In fact, the fact that we're even in like the top 50, top 100 or whatever it is on podcasts is because of all you guys, man, that listen in, that write the reviews, that listen to the show and, learn and grow and want to, take it to the front, man. And that's what I'm excited about. If I was the #1 bestseller or I was in the top 100, that's all fun and dandy. But reality is that if I sold just 1 or 2 books and it made an impact in somebody's life, then that's the measure that we're all trying to play with and make sure that we make an impact out there in people's lives. And I know that's the spirit behind your book, Paul, which is, kind of the reason you got to have that passion and that story and that message you want to get out, because like I said earlier, man, writing a book, it's not easy. And, but you know what, with your help, Paul, and your guidance and coaching, hopefully you'll be able to help us. And with that, we can spread our message. So, all right, dude, well, this was really fun. Thanks for jumping on here first thing, in the morning. Anything else that we got for you guys? But if not, we'll button this up right here.
Yeah, greenindustrypodcast.com. Pick up your copy today. Learn how to rake in the profits with your lawn care and landscaping business. But my greatest endorsement so far has been from Johnny Moe. He called me, or he was on my show.
Yeah,
I didn't even knew that I had a book, and he's like, I'm on page 102. I was like, you read my book, Johnny Moe? Like 25 years of experience. Like, yeah, I got some zingers, I got some nuggets, and so that was really cool for me to hear.
I heard that
somebody 25 years of experience found value in my book. So if Johnny Moe can take away some nuggets from it, certainly guys that are in their first decade in the biz could definitely become more profitable. So it's a value add, and I poured a lot of time into making sure it's as high quality as possible. So
what you don't know behind the scenes is I bought that copy to send to Johnny Moe to help him out, because sometimes he gets stuck.
Are you serious?
No. I'm just messing, bro.
Oh.
I'm just having some fun in case Johnny Moe ever listens to this podcast. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to help him out, man. I'm like, look, Johnny, you can learn from some of the young guys out there. He's always saying that he's an old OG, right? I think, is that called? He's an OG in the industry, and I'm like, well, you need to listen to some of the young blood. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just kidding. He's going to shoot me a text now or show up at my house, one of the two. So, but I love Johnny. He's a great, he's a character, man. But you know what? I did listen to that episode when I was on my infinite plane ride going from Michigan to Atlanta and Atlanta to Texas there. That was like, that was crazy. I need a private jet. But anyway, I digress.
Coming soon. Either you're going to be chartering or private jetting. So I definitely that in your future. That's exciting. I binge watch YouTube videos of all these private jets and
me too.
Things like that. So
I can't do commercial. Me and Nick Carlson, that's the lofty goal, is to get a jet and then put it into like a rental fleet, you know, like a Turo for airplanes. And because it's impractical to own a plane, honestly, like financially, unless you're like, what's the old joke? Like, how do you make a millionaire? It's like take a billionaire and then give him a Lear jet, and he'll be a millionaire, you know, that whole joke. So
well, even a lot of these guys, because I used to be a golf caddy, so I would talk to these famous golfers that make crazy money, and even they don't own a private jet. I think Tiger Woods is the only one. What they do is they split it with 4 of their buddies. So they'll all have 25% ownership, and then they have a schedule where this week, you know, Stuart Appleby will have the plane, and the next week, you know, the next guy will have it. And so even these guys that make, you know, outrageous amount of money, they split it with their buddies. But anyway, almond air or something. We'll figure it out. We'll get you a nice bird here.
I'm trying to spin that dream, right? Nick Carlson already wants it. I'm trying to get in the almonds because they're cash cows, man. They're making money like the Treasury Department. You know what I mean? When the government needs a stimulus, they call up the almonds, you know, and they give them a little cash infusion there. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's the dream, man. I can't do TSA. I can't do commercial flying. People are sick and gross, and like I'm a germaphobe, kind of like B&B. I don't like people touching me, and I don't know, man. I just feel like you're in there. It's like a little petri dish of germs. But
well, I used the restroom on the plane one time, and so I don't do well in public areas like that. So you know, I'd like to be on a private plane. I can just let loose, you know.
Well, and plus, if you have any embarrassing situations, then it's in private. Amen. So it's
there you go.
Versus, you know, having the whole internet know about it. Which, by the way, your interview with Mr. Producer, banger episode. I listened to the both of those. Like I said, I listened to like 7 or 8 of your episodes. I listened to like probably 10 episodes. And Mr. Producer was like rapid fire. He's like, I say a word and you got to say the first thought that triggers into your brain. And he goes, Fullerton Unfiltered. And you go, poop story. And I'm like of all the you know 150 episodes or whatever we have now, you know, 500,000 million downloads, whatever it is now, and I get the poop story. I'm like game changer, you know, patriot, freedom fighter, you know, like poop story. I'm like, thanks, Paul. Thanks. So, all right. Well, we got funny stories like this. We could ramble all day. But Paul, sincerely, thanks for taking some time to be on the show. I know a lot of these guys really appreciate you big time. I know I do. I did a talk back at Launchpreneur Academy talking about who wins when you succeed. And my friend, you are winning. And I know because of that, a lot of people are succeeding. And I know you give them like I said, that daily shot in the arm to give them a little bit of a boost to tackle that day, tackle that week, maybe tackle some of the difficult stuff that we all deal with as business owners, because we all know it's not always sunshine and rainbows. But, you know, one thing that I can always bank on is that when I look down at my phone, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, there's our show. Monday through Friday, there's your show. Every Tuesday, it's Julio's show, so on and so forth. And, you know, Paul, I know a lot of guys, it's that little drip, man. And I know you don't really get all the feedback that you want, although you get a lot, and it's usually 99.9% positive. But what I will say is that there's a lot of guys out there that consciously or subconsciously, they know, hey man, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. We're about to rip those mowers open and go cut that grass and make that cash. And when they see that new episode with Paul Jamison, you're not, you know, down in the doldrums, you know, kicking tires and woe is me. You're butt kicker. You're taking names, you're authoritative, and you're a butt kicker, dude. And I know a lot of these guys really appreciate you, is what I'm trying to say. So keep doing what you're doing, man. We're looking to a great season. I'm sure we'll get you back on the show here sometime spring, summer, get a little midsummer recap like I like to do. But until then, guys, go follow Paul Jamison, Green Industry Podcast, all over social media and on the podcast. And we'll catch up with you here soon, Paul. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Cut that grass and make that cash where finer books are sold. Pick up your copy today.
There you go. All right, guys, we'll get over to the best producer in the biz, the one that we both get to share, who definitely cuts those checks to neither of us, but we send a lot of money his way, and he is a great guy that earns it every single time. So let's kick it over to the best producer in the biz, Marty, Mr. Producer. Take it away.
Looking to get new customers, including commercial clients? LaunchpreneurAcademy.com has you covered. Looking to learn the best new strategies for postcard marketing? We've got that covered too. Get instant access to 6 videos showing how to get new residential and commercial customers with yard signs, postcards, social media marketing, Facebook ads, Google My Business listings, and so much more. These 6 videos are designed to help you expand with the best tactics and strategies to secure new customers and grow your business. The How to Get New Customers training program will get your phone to ringing. Hello? Visit LawEntrepreneurAcademy.com and pick it up today.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
Yeah, there you go. Hi, Marty.
Hey, Marty. All right. Well, here I was just gonna bounce a couple things off you with the book, the Hype House, and what was the third thing? There was 3 things. Your book,
The meetup.
What was the 3 things you got going on, man? The book.
We got the book. We got
your
the
summer tour. Your tour.
Yeah.
The book.
Yep.
The book, the tour, and then the Hype House.
Yes.
All right. Can you talk about all those 3 things? Are you excited about those?
I'm fired up. Yeah.
All right, dude. All right. Well, here, I'm going to hit record and we're ready to rock and roll. You good?
Yes.
This has been a Brian Fullerton and Mr. Producer production.